Right.
and she's pissed. And then they have a fight at the picnic.
It still goes back to him
Hmm?
wanting to be in control. You know what I mean?
Absolute control. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, then it ends with them fighting again, with him saying, with her putting some bars saying, all this stuff, what's the difference between you giving me a bracelet and you buying a statue for $1,000? You have never given me anything. All this stuff, and you've never actually given me anything.
Mm.
Crazy line. Crazy line.
Was she right though? Do you think she was right or do you disagree?
I think she was 100% correct because Jedediah, as you call him, says the exact
But that's his name though.
storyline. I think they call him Jedediah like twice.
No. I mean, honestly speaking,
Yeah.
and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember only Charleston calls him Jedediah.
I think you're right. Yeah, I
He's
think
the only one that calls him Jedediah. Everybody else calls him Leland, but
so. Yeah, but I hear the word Leland. And when you start saying Jedediah, I'm like, eh, you're right. You're technically right. You're right. Yes. But yes. Anyway, my point is, what were we saying before we got distracted? We were saying,
about the wife, like how whether she was right or not.
yes, because Thingamajiggy says again, he wants to be loved by everyone, but he doesn't know how to give it because
Yes, because it's about him.
yes. So yeah, in fact, actually, wrote here. If I said, what did I say here? Kane begs for her to stay, but he can't help himself. He has to make it about himself. And she's willing to stay when he talks to her, but he just has to give himself. Instead, he just ends up losing stuff. So he never gives things; he just loses them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's the problem. He's not willing to give a piece of himself at all. Which is why Leland calls himself, or Jedediah calls himself a stooge, because he realizes I was never this man's friend. I was his stooge. You know what line we said earlier. And I think that's what happens. It turns out she's not the wife, she's a stooge. I think maybe the first wife is the only actual wife.
That's why, yeah.
And I think they may have actually gotten back together if she hadn't died. I think that may have happened eventually.
Probably. If she was still interested, that is.
Yeah. True, she might have just moved on.
Yeah.
But she's so regal that she might have just like kept things. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, she leaves and he kind of loses it. But now
I mean, he loses his marbles, bro. He throws furniture everywhere. He doesn't care about anything anymore at this point.
Yeah. All the stuff doesn't matter. We get.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry. Yeah, we get. Sorry, man. Yeah. Losing the last person. Yeah, we get the butler 147 minutes in, who immediately asks for money. So the butler is clearly not a friend. You know what I mean? He talks about his reaction, the chaos of Susie leaving, where we hear the word rosebud when he stops at the snow globe that we'd seen earlier before. Yeah, he destroys everything. Yeah. Unsatisfied, the journalist gets ready to go, and we see a lot of collected goods. The reporter gives an awesome final summary about never knowing what it means and that a word could never sum up a man's life. Yeah, that was beautiful. They gave this massive haul of stuff, like the scaling of this movie, dude. It would cost him $100 million to make this movie.
It's like a museum of artifacts and souvenirs and statues, and it's like a maze of valuable goods, assets.
Yes.
Which I never understood why they got burned at the end, because you can resell those things.
I think what happened was the butler did it on his own, because there's a moment where they say that vase is only worth $2, but they're still gonna sell it. They're still gonna take it up. So I think what happened was the butler was just like, screw some of this stuff. It's not important. He decided on his own that it's not important. And he fucking just threw it away in the fire.
Because
I think it's the butler.
Charleston was a hoarder, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not sure if there's a significance to him being a hoarder. I'm not sure if that's just something that maybe we're not
I
seeing.
think he was looking for Roseblood the whole time. I think he's sentimental, man. He's looking for his parents back. I think he's looking for Rosebud. I think he's looking for his past. And he's trying to collect it in the future. That's the way I've always seen it. Like it's a thing that
Sorry, what about the future?
he can't get the past, so he's trying to collect it in the future.
Oh, okay.
So he thinks having all this stuff will hopefully accumulate to something, but it doesn't, which is heartbreaking. We see the sled that's being thrown into the fire, and we see the name of the thread is Rosebud, the missing piece to the jigsaw of a man's life. And the movie ends as it opened with the no trespassing sign.
Yes.
This movie is experimental, revolutionary. Even now, it feels revolutionary.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
That after so many decades, this movie is still stronger than some of the movies that are coming out today. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I don't know what it says about the state of the movies that are coming out recently, but it definitely does show there's a lack of, I wouldn't say people are not as experimental, they are experimenting. There's a lack of striving to be perfect in your project.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's absolutely the case. I think there are some things where we take too many shortcuts. I think someone once said a great movie is 3 good scenes and 0 bad ones. I feel like some of us, we don't strive for the greatness in the small scenes. Like some of those transitions were unnecessary, but am I glad they were there because they accumulated to an amazing movie. And I feel like some of us, we look at the unnecessary, we try to cut it away. We cut. And let's not forget that in nowadays, movies don't invest like they used to. The only people that get the investment is Marvel, and they're not doing anything with the money. So we don't get that investment that we used to.
Right.
So it's a very tricky situation, that's for sure.
Yeah. Out of 10?
Oh, 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, no, I have no complaints whatsoever. This movie feels like it's longer than its actual runtime.
Yeah. So much happens.
Like a lot happens in this movie. And I think that's the beauty of old movies. Yeah. I think I was talking to a friend of mine a few years ago, and I would say this a lot, even back then, especially back then, that one thing we liked about old movies is you see an entire man's life in one movie. His parents get killed when he's young, he grows up, falls in love, has kids, then defeats the villain at the end of the movie. Like, and I feel like that's what Citizen Kane is. This entire man's life, even though you know the things that are going to happen. I mean, this movie requires you to pay so much attention that you can't ask yourself, where's the first wife? Because they told you in the beginning that she died from a car accident.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. This movie, if made into a Marvel movie, would be 3 movies. It would be Captain America 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? It would be a TV series. It wouldn't be one movie. There's too much in it.
Yes, because I mean, you could say part 1 is him running the paper. Part 2 is the mistress being introduced, his relationship with his wife, him running for governor. And then
him running for governor, definitely. That's the midpoint. That's the highest. That's him at his highest.
Yes.
That is everything going right. Yeah.
And then part 3 would be
before
the arc with the with the other wife, where he's forcing her to sing and all those situations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then there's an old man with no one really paying, with no one. Yeah, once he gives up on the singing, it's him and her in that room, in that big house by themselves.
Yeah. And look, in this day and age, you could say a man like that could have easily brought in another mistress and married that mistress. But I think, because let's be honest,
Zulu.
let's be honest, Charleston is a very smart man.
Yeah.
So I think he quickly concluded that it's not about the woman that he brings in that house. He will still feel empty regardless.
Because I mean, if you think about the picnic scene, there was a beautiful chicks. It's like a whole row of them, like outside this when they're singing and the spit and grill. There's a bunch of beautiful chicks there, but he's in the tent with his wife. So yeah, and remember, he brought all those people there.
Yeah.
Telling me he wouldn't have with any of them? Nah, that wasn't the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Yeah, man. Is there anything that you want to say before we shut it down?
No, I'm good, man.
Oh, okay. Guys, yeah, this is Citizen Kane. Please do let us know your thoughts about this film. Like we've said before, it's one of the best movies of all time. Even though it's a movie that came out in 1941, watching it in 2023 blew me away. And I've watched a lot of movies. I think you guys have those guys, the guys who've been watching this podcast for a while. You guys know that we talk a lot about movies, but the fact that we watched a 1941 movie and were able to speak for like 1 hour and 40 something minutes on it, that alone lets you know how powerful this movie is. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The journalist is a very important character.
Yes.
There's also a lesson to be learned about looking for something, trying to find meaning in something that shouldn't even have meaning, you know. Because at the end of the day, even though they did that documentary, okay, let me put it this way. Had the editor-in-chief concluded that even though there's nothing more to the Rosebud story, let's just publish this video, we wouldn't have had this movie. Because the journalists wouldn't have had to go out
Yeah.
and try to figure out the meaning of Rosebud.
Yeah. It's a connective tissue. It's a connective. Otherwise, it's just a slideshow. Without his connective tissue.
Yes, exactly. It's one document. It's a documentary. It would have been a documentary within a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. So let us know your thoughts on the film. Let us know if you like it or not. Do you agree with our rating? If not, let us know. And do not forget to let us know which movies you would like us to cover. But this is Mr. Extraordin with my co-host Rob Sibeko. We'll definitely see you guys on the next one. Cheers.
Peace.